One of Ripple and XRP's biggest rivals just bit the dust, and hardly anyone's noticed. As long as I've been investing in Ripple and XRP, I've always seen XRP as the backbone of a new financial system. Tired of fake gurus who claim to be expert traders but never trade live? I trade live on the second largest crypto exchange, where everything is transparent and results can't be faked. For over 440 days, I've consistently closed every month in profit. In the last 90 days alone, my followers have earned over $34,000 in profits, with only 4% drawdown. Verified results, not empty claims. Want to see my verified stats? Click the first link in my profile and start copying my trades for free today. Paired with Ripple as the driving force connecting financial institutions to this groundbreaking tech, together, they're a powerhouse that I truly believe will shape the future of global finance. But let's be real, competition is inevitable. In this video, I'm diving into the downfall of one of Ripple and XRP's biggest challengers, and breaking down why this is an incredibly bullish moment for XRP's future. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, as most of you know, I've been a huge supporter of Ripple and XRP for quite some time now. But let's be real, competition is always part of the game. One of my biggest concerns has always been whether blockchain technology could be outpaced by something even better. That said, I'm still incredibly bullish on blockchain. So far, it's proven to be the most efficient way to move value. When I look at the old, outdated financial system, it's clear an upgrade is overdue. And honestly, blockchain feels like the obvious answer to bring us into the future. Imagine if tomorrow a groundbreaking technology emerged that completely outshined blockchain. That could shake everything up, right? It would be like, well, maybe this new innovation takes over and blockchain becomes yesterday's news. To me, that's the biggest risk for Ripple and XRP. Still, when it comes to institutions adopting blockchain, especially public ones like the XRP ledger, the competition isn't even close. Plenty of projects are trying to replicate what Ripple is doing with XRP, but honestly, no one's in the same league. Ripple's banking partnerships are unmatched. No other token offers the same regulatory clarity as XRP, its liquidity unrivaled, and the XRP ledger's ecosystem, it's a powerhouse. For now, XRP stands in a class of its own. There's plenty of competition out there, but few come close to what Ripple and XRP have already achieved. That said, I'm not naive. If an entirely new technology were to emerge and completely upend the game, it could pose a serious challenge for Ripple and XRP's future. I'm always keeping an eye out for that potential disruptor. As an investor across multiple industries, I'm constantly asking, what's the next big thing? Could something shake up Ripple and XRP? But the more I evaluate emerging tech, the more confident I am in blockchain systems like the XRP ledger. To me, it represents the most transformative financial upgrade of our generation. Over the years, one major competitor has stood out: private, permissioned databases, often called private chains or private blockchain technology. They've always been a looming challenger, but the evolution of public blockchain tech just keeps raising the bar. Ripple and XRP remain at the forefront, and that's exciting to watch. This has always been one of those lingering what-if scenarios for me, you know? For years, we've heard the buzz. JP Morgan coin is coming. Then you've got projects like R3 trying to push their own private permissioned blockchains. It raised the big question: what happens if private chains actually take off? Imagine a world where every company has its own private permission chain, seamlessly interconnected in a simple, elegant way. No technical headaches. It just works. If they manage to pull that off, no public decentralized ledger in the middle, it could spell trouble for XRP. After all, XRP's whole purpose is to act as that neutral public permissionless bridge between private databases. But if you don't need a public blockchain like XRP to connect the dots, well, that's a pretty bleak scenario for XRP's future. And that's exactly what players like JP Morgan and R3 have been aiming for, cutting out the need for a public ledger. But recently, we've gotten some fascinating updates on how these private blockchain experiments are actually performing. Spoiler alert, it's not all smooth sailing. I want you to hear directly from the head of digital assets at BlackRock, because let's face it, while I can share my own thoughts and theories on where the future is headed, I'm not sitting in those high-stakes boardrooms with BlackRock or Bank of America. I'm not privy to their insider conversations about how they're shaping the future of finance. All I can do is observe their moves and connect the dots, piecing together what I think might come next. But speculation only goes so far. What's truly valuable is hearing their own words. what they actually think about private permission chains like R3 or JP Morgan Coin. These technologies could very well be Ripple's fiercest rivals, challenging the reach and innovation of the XRP ledger. So, instead of guessing, let's tune in. Let's hear what the insiders have to say about these private blockchain systems and their vision for the future. What they're saying and not saying could give us a lot of insight into where the XRP ledger stands in this rapidly evolving landscape.
Financial institutions' efforts on private blockchains in the past and maybe sort of the shift to public blockchains, the regulatory political temperature that has kind of been changing in recent years to kind of lead to that.
Yeah, well, I think the verdict is in on the private blockchains, and it's not good. That was obviously where a lot of the TradFi exploration in this space occurred in the early years. In particular, that was really all of the banks and some of the other TradFi institutions had comfort with. But the track record is what it is, and it reflects the fact that there's been very, very de minimis actual adoption in an economic, commercial way at scale of any of these private blockchain projects. And I think, in hindsight, at least, that makes sense in terms of the curbing of the value prop of blockchain's potential that a private blockchain represents. And so public blockchains are increasingly the focus, even for TradFi firms, maybe not all yet, but certainly that's the direction of travel. And we've seen obviously encouraging regulatory guidance over the last couple of weeks that help support the notion that this is now suitable territory for even banks in the US to engage in.
There's a critical point here that many might overlook. He's essentially saying it was always obvious. Private blockchains were never going to win. This is a clear jab at players like JP Morgan and R3. And speaking of JP Morgan, let's dive into something interesting. During the Ripple versus SEC case, JP Morgan issued an internal note stating that if Ripple won, the XRP ledger could be on the brink of mass adoption. But why would they say that? Robbie Mishnick, the guy speaking earlier, gave us a major clue. Now that public blockchains have regulatory clarity, there's no longer a compelling reason to stick with private, permissioned systems. Here's the kicker. Both JP Morgan, with their internal blockchain projects, and Robbie Mishnick, BlackRock's head of digital assets, understand one thing. Regulatory clarity is the game changer. Public blockchains come out on top. But why is that such an obvious conclusion for them? The answer is simpler than you might think. It's crystal clear why this won't work. No one wants to be the lone player on a private permission blockchain with no one else to engage with. Picture this: BlackRock knocking on Bank of America's door saying, "Hey, use our blockchain," or JP Morgan trying the same pitch. The answer? A hard number. Even R3 can't just say, "Use our chain," and expect everyone to jump on board. Why? Because no one wants to join a system where they're forced to play by someone else's rules. It's like giving up control over your playground. It makes zero sense. That's exactly why Robbie Mishnick's point hits the mark. Citigroup, one of the global banking giants, launched Citi Token with a big splash, but guess what? Nobody cares. Why? Because no one wants Citi Token. It's so obvious it almost writes itself. Every institution wants its own token, its own private system, its own set of rules. No one's interested in putting their operations in the hands of somebody else's system. Everyone's in it for control, and that's why this private permission blockchain idea just doesn't stick. The more you think about it, the clearer it becomes. Trusting your biggest competitor's system to run your operations is like handing them the keys to your future. This is where private blockchains fall short in creating true interoperability. What's becoming obvious is that while private blockchains can thrive, they don't replace public blockchains. Public blockchains remain essential as the glue that binds these siloed systems together. Here's the reality. Every major institution and nation will want its own private blockchain. Why? Because they'll want absolute control over their data. But who wants to play by someone else's rules? Nobody. So naturally, everyone builds their own private blockchain. Now comes the catch. These private blockchains need to connect. But if a single company or entity controls the connecting system, you're right back where you started. One central authority running the show. It's the same old story. just with a new coat of paint. Public blockchains are the answer to breaking that cycle. Nobody wants to put all their trust in one person to run the show. The solution? A system without a boss in the middle. A space where everyone brings their own rules but connects to a fair, neutral framework. This way, business gets done without trust being a factor. No middleman. I can collaborate with any of you without worrying about trust. Why? Because between us lies a neutral, decentralized ledger that ensures everyone follows the same rules. All it takes is subscribing to the principles of the blockchain. If both sides agree to this simple, decentralized system, business can flow seamlessly. The beauty of it? Nobody can change the rules on me. We don't need to trust each other or set our own rules. All we need to do is accept the unbiased, shared rulebook of the technology that connects us. This is exactly what they're telling you, loud and clear. Private systems were never built to connect different blockchains, private networks, or internal systems. They were destined to fail. What's needed is something entirely different, something public, decentralized, and permissionless. And this isn't speculation anymore. Major institutions are saying it outright. These private blockchain projects have failed. But here's the exciting part. Their failure shines a massive spotlight on the success of a completely opposite approach. The approach Ripple and XRP have taken since day one. This is precisely what David Schwartz and the Ripple team have been championing from the very beginning. Now, we're watching as the big players, the real movers and shakers, come to the same conclusion. The tide is turning, and the future is looking bright for technologies that embrace openness and innovation. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found this update insightful.